Hi, everyone. Welcome to Short Film Saturday. We're really excited because it's another Nollywood Week Paris Short Film Saturday. I have Serge here with me, and I have Idowu Okeniyi, the Nigerian filmmaker that we're featuring today. And so we're going to get started with some introductions to those of you who are new to Short Film Saturdays. I am 𝗘𝗫𝗢𝗪𝗓. I'm the founder and CEO of Soleil Space. And if you're not familiar with Soleil yet, you'll get familiar after this is done. But if you haven't heard about us before, we're a media company in Brooklyn, New York. And our mission is to achieve a more equitable and representative global film and TV landscape. Our focus is on the global diasporas of Africa, Asia, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the Middle East, which we call the Global South diasporas collectively, people of color around the world, right? And our goals are to elevate untold stories from these cultures and regions, form closer transcultural community bonds among the creative community and around audiences, and provide opportunities and resources for our creators to produce premium world-class content. We specialize in film, TV, and editorial media production, and we aim to lift up all these underrepresented voices from these regions that we feel are not often seen, authentically represented, or well understood in the global mainstream media. And so we feel like one of the ways to do that is through short films. We have a podcast called Soleil Spotlight, where we profiled people who we felt were trailblazers in the global South diaspora community from a creative standpoint, film and TV industry executives, directors, producers, and people will ask us, where can we see their films? And so that's how Short Film Saturdays was born. So we feel like there's no better way to really highlight these voices on a regular basis than through short films, because shorts are often really well celebrated in the festival scene. But then after that, they're shelved and people don't get to see them. And they're really pure form of artistic expression, often when the creator has the most freedom and they execute them with very limited resources and within boundaries of small production budgets. So you really get very raw expression through short films. So that's what Short Film Saturdays is about. And since launching Short Film Saturdays in late summer of 2021, we featured 38 films from 29 filmmakers in 20 countries to date. So Idowu is our 30th filmmaker. I think this is a cool milestone for today. And yeah, like we're just really excited about that. But before we introduce Idowu and his film, I'd like to introduce Serge Nukwe, who is my co-host for today and the director for Nollywood Week Paris Film Festival. So Serge, you take it away and tell everyone about Nollywood Week.
All right, thank you, Mika. I'm going to try to have as structured of an introduction as you did. I'm not sure I will be able to. I'm not sure I'll manage. But Nollywood Week, I'm the co-founder and director of Nollywood Week, and this is a festival that we started in 2013, so almost 10 years now of representing the best of Nigerian cinema. The idea from the beginning was that, back in 2013, things were very different. Access to good content, quality films from Nigeria was very difficult. So we felt like it was important to set up this festival as a platform, as a space where people could have access to these narratives that were just really, marginalized and not accessible. And Nollywood Week happens in Paris on a yearly basis. So we're actually getting ready to have our 9th edition. It was supposed to be 10th, but in 2020, we all know what happened. So so nothing happened in 2020 for us. But we are very happy to partner with Soleil Space because I think it's a great avenue, a great platform to showcase talented filmmakers, talented stories, and Jungle Justice that you are about to watch is definitely one of them. For me, it's also like a bit of a full circle kind of thing because Jungle Justice was premiered at the festival in 2019. And that was the last time we had a physical event before the world went through what it went through. So it's quite exciting. And I think the the reactions from the audience were all very unanimous. Everybody loved the film. So if you are watching now, you don't want to go away. You want to go on YouTube Live, sorry, so that you can watch this film, because it's an amazing film. It's really, really interesting, and I think the conversation that we're going to have after with Idowu is going to be equally interesting. So don't go anywhere. And I'm just going to do a bit of a plug-in. You can connect to our social media as well, so you can see what's happening in the next few weeks with Nollywood Week. And then, yeah.
Awesome.
Over to you.
Awesome. I've been to Nollywood Week Festival, one of my favorites. I can't wait to get back to Paris. That's how I met Serge. I like to tell everybody. So let's introduce our filmmaker for today. Idowu Okeniyi is a Nigerian-Ghanaian film director, photography, and producer. He completed his education at Central University College as an architect before training as a film director in 2013, although he began his career in filmmaking earlier in 1999 as an actor in a Nigerian television series, and in 2008 as a director, when he shot and directed his first short film with a camera phone and his college roommates as actors. He's the co-founder of Studio Real Films. With countless short films now under his belt, he's currently working on his feature film, One Chance, now in pre-production, which we'll definitely ask you about later. Welcome, Idowu, and feel free to introduce the film.
Okay, thank you very much. The film Jungle Justice follows a very angry young boy, and through his and how he deals with the situations around him. So I don't want to give a lot away, but I would say you should sit and enjoy the film. Yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, we're all looking forward to sharing this film with you. Very excited about it. So let's start the show. Stay tuned. All right, we're back, and this was really entertaining. The film was entertaining, and the chat was also really entertaining. So we're excited to get into the Q&A with Idowu. And for those of you who just watched the film, you would have heard the introduction, but for those of you who have not, who joined us during the film, just a little bit of a refresh. This is Short Film Saturday with Soleil Space and with Nollywood Week Paris. And we're here with Idowu Okeniyi, a Nigerian-Ghanaian film director. And you just watched Jungle Justice. So we're about to start the Q&A with Idowu. All right, let's go. So Idowu, tell us, what inspired you to make Jungle Justice? Explain the term of Jungle Justice kind of how this all came about.
Okay, thank you. Jungle Justice is an interesting concept, actually. So it's a situation where an individual, a criminal, right, is caught in the act. So a thief, a robber, whatever, is caught in the act by people living in the neighborhood. In that neighborhood, and they take the criminal and they beat the person to stupor. So after beating the person up, they either call the cops, sometimes they do, or they call the cops to take the person away, or they just kill the person, they burn the person. Now, I understand why people do this, right? Because a lot of people don't trust the police. And sometimes they try to send a message out because people are trying to protect themselves. So they try to send a message out there by killing this person, it sends a message to the next criminal that don't come to our neighborhood. And that's the idea. Like I said, even though I understand this, I don't necessarily agree with the idea because one, it's flat out murder, right? It's killing someone else. It's murder. You just haven't given that person a chance to go to court and all of that.
To have their true course of justice. What should be their right?
Yeah, that's one. So there's no difference between you, the murderer, and that person, the thief. There's just no difference. And secondly, there have been documented cases time and time again of innocent people being killed for this same reason, right? They kill the person and then they find out, oh my God, it was the wrong person. And, you know, how do you get back from that? Which leaves people, everyone vulnerable to this. If you find yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time and you're accused of something you didn't do, you could be killed for something you didn't do. So I wanted to make a film about this. You know, I wanted to make a film where I entertain you, you know, as the audience, but my film also reflects you, the audience. It's like a mirror where even though you're being entertained, you see yourself back in the mirror, like, oh, that's just me, that's who I am. Because when you go online and when you talk to friends sometimes, and you ask them, what do you think about jungle justice? And they're like, oh yeah, it's a cool thing. Because, you know, they support jungle justice, just like a casual thing. And if you try to explain why it's wrong, people try to tell you like, yeah, you've never been robbed before. You don't know how brutal these thieves are, these robbers are. So that's why you do things like this. So that's why I made the film Jungle Justice.
It's interesting though that like you talk about it like it's it's a very common thing that people talk about, in Africa, and I'm guessing specifically in Nigeria or in Ghana, which I think you should contextualize for us where it takes place and all of that in a little bit. But is that a common phenomenon culturally there?
I don't want to say culturally, because if I use culture, it messes up the essence, like the beautiful culture we have. So it's just something people have picked up, somewhere along the line. People picked it up, especially living in a place where you don't feel confident about the police. So
it's a failure of the authorities to protect.
Exactly. To protect people. So people try to protect themselves. So that's where this has come from. And it's quite common in Nigeria. It's very common in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, I experienced my first jungle justice at the age of 7.
Done on you, or you witnessed somebody else? Okay.
No, somebody else. No, not me. No, somebody else. I was a kid, just playing as a kid in front of my house, and that happened right there. Somebody was killed and burnt right in front of me as a 7-year-old. That stuck in my head. Like, it's still in my head. I still have the picture right in my face, how it happened, how everything went down. So someone was killed like that. So and I have a friend, when I was in college, I had a friend who also almost got killed. He was actually beaten. He was accused of stealing a phone. He just went to the beach to chill. And when he was leaving the beach late at night, someone accused him of stealing a phone, and he was almost killed. But he ended up in the hospital, and it was there for a month. And then they found out, oh my God, it was the wrong person. We never stole anything. So that happened. So that's how common it is. That's how it could just happen to anybody. So it's something very common, and it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think to add to what Idowu is saying, is really true. It's not just Nigeria. It's not just Ghana. It's a very, I think, and again, it shouldn't be considered an African phenomenon necessarily. It's something that happens where in communities and societies where things are a bit dysfunctional. So the fact that the police is not necessarily to be trusted, the fact that you don't know whether they're going to show up or not, then you take justice in your own hands, and that's just, it's very unfortunate, because like you mentioned, it can easily go the wrong way. You can easily get the wrong guy, but it's too late. It is obviously too late when you find out. And so I guess you just mentioned how you witnessed it at 7. So I guess that's actually the true inspiration to make that film. Like you've been. Yeah, we've been doing that for such a long time. But and I like also that you, in the film, you don't judge. You are showing the way things happen, and you are showing also how anyone can become a victim of that. Do you feel like that phenomenon is not known enough and deserves more space and deserve to be talked about more? Is that one of the reasons why you made that film as well?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why I made the film, because it's not like people don't talk about it enough, you know? And I feel like people need to talk more about that because it's a problem. Imagine, I mean, you just going about your daily life and you become a victim of something you know nothing about, you know? So it's ridiculous, and it's something that people should talk about more. You know, you have to feel safe in a country where you call home, you know, things like that. So I just feel like it's something that needs to be talked more about. So yeah.
Listen, that's really good. I think also that, I'm kind of thinking about, the Western kind of interpretation of it. And it's not a term that I personally heard before. It's not
Mhm.
something I've witnessed often. And that may
Right.
show some privilege in some aspects, trying to think in like depressed neighborhoods in the US or even in Trinidad, where I'm from. What
Mm.
happens in the case where, the structural protections have broken down, but one of the things that I think is really great about this film, and I don't know how you were able to achieve this in such a short space of time, but you told so many stories within the story, right?
Yeah.
And going to the personal narrative unfolding around the parent struggle around controlling, this teenage boy and his anger and his, coming of age and trying to make certain decisions. And a lot of times, the motivations he had were justice in itself, right? He wanted to take
Yeah.
justice on his friend, for his friend who got the thing stolen from him, and all of that. And you show the struggle that they have to teach their son to make better choices,
Yeah.
most of the time in a non-violent way, but his father chose to do it with physical violence and abuse in some cases. And that was really ironic. And it's pretty common in Black culture around the world, that whole like, you have to like discipline your kids and toughen them up and spare the rod, spoil the child, which I think the father said. Tell us
Yeah.
about that conflict between the mother and the father, with regards to disciplining children and raising children in a cultural context.
Okay. It is quite common, like you mentioned, and I would use Nigeria as a place where I grew up. It's a very common thing where if you make a mistake, you get beaten for it. You know, that's the way to correct a child. That's how they feel. But sometimes, you know, you have to understand. I feel like the parents, what the father failed to do, for example, is he failed to understand his son. You know, they never had deep discussions. They never had, you know, father-son conversations. Sit down with your son, understand where his anger is coming from. You know, maybe he's mentally challenged. You know, it could be a thing. I mean, these are like Easter eggs that are placed in there that we're playing with in the feature film, because I'm working on a feature film on Jungle Justice. Yeah, but I'm just putting out there, like, these are things we're playing with. Like, you know, it could be maybe he's mentally challenged, maybe something. Talk to your child, find out more. But people like where I grew up don't usually want to have that conversation. They just feel like beating the child or punishing the child would teach the child to be a better man, and it's not the right way to go. So that was a challenge between the father and mom, and the mom was afraid of the father. You know, she couldn't do anything. She could only beg him to stop. And yeah, this were just the dynamics that were put in there.
Can you tell us also about making the film? How was it? So the movie is set in Ghana, the movie is set in Accra. How was it involving the community? How involved was the community in making that film? Because obviously the people in the film are also familiar with that reality. But how did you get to? Because it feels so real. So obviously it's not just extras necessarily that you had, but really people from that neighborhood, and you were able to really bring them together with that project. How was that dynamic?
That's an interesting question. Um, They were very supportive. That's the first thing I'll say, because when we got there, we had to speak to the chief, because it was like a neighborhood where they had their own dynamic, they had their own hierarchy. Like they had a chief, irrespective of whether Accra had a mayor or whatever, they just had their own thing going on in that neighborhood. So we spoke with the chief, we explained our story to him, and he was very supportive, and he agreed with us, like, oh yeah, when you make the film, when you finish the film, can you bring it over here and we can have a movie night with everyone, so you have a projector outside so people can watch it, learn. So
Nice.
yeah, it was quite a very interactive, session we had with him. So we were very supportive, and when we made the film, a lot of the guys you saw like at the end of the film were just people who lived in that area. They're not professional actors. They were just people who were like, hey, I want to be in the film. I want to be in the film. So my producer and I, with some other crew members who worked with, spent like a week in the neighborhood, going through actors and trying to work with them, just being familiar with them, and that was how we picked some of the actors, and that's how we worked with them. So it was something that they enjoyed making, and they're also still looking forward to us showing the film back there so when I go back, I'm definitely going to do that. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And it was a really colorful cast of characters too. What were any of the characters based on real life people? Because the acting was great and it felt very personal in how the characters came about.
Yeah. So so the actors we had on this, the boy, Kofi, the boy, is actually an actor from Beast of No Nation. You've seen Beast of No Nation, the boy.
Yes, now he looks like, I was wondering where I saw that face before. And I was
Yeah.
like, maybe it's somebody I know. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I saw him in Beast of No Nation. He was the actor, he was striker. He had no line of dialogue in the film, but I remembered him so well because it was just so good. So I reached out to his agent and we had them on set. And also the principal was an actor in Beast of No Nation. So we had some professional actors. The mother is also a professional actor in Ghana, and the father as well. So the main characters were our professional actors, and it was great working with them because they were phenomenal. And then and then we have the dynamic of the ones who were professional actors and did an awesome job. And it was a struggle to make the film because we were shooting with almost no budget.
Yeah.
So it was a real struggle working, and we had to cramp a lot of shoots in just one day. It was crazy, but it was fun. Yeah.
And were any of the characters based on real life people? Well,
okay, so one of my major inspiration for the film, asides my experience as a child, is there's a story from 2011 or 12 of 4 students in Nigeria who were killed because they were accused of stealing. Now, there are videos online of them being killed. They were stripped naked and beaten by the people in the neighborhood. So it was like a terrible scene, and it was all over the news, right? But nothing changed even after that. Because we found out they were actually innocent. They didn't steal anything, and it was just like a messed up story. So that was actually the inspiration for Jungle Justice. That's where the idea popped up. And I thought, I want to make a film because it was all over the news, it was all over the internet, and you would think that things would change, but nothing changed. So I thought, I want to make a film. I want to make a film where I actually wanted to base my film on that story, but I changed. The story evolved over time and became this. So yes, it was inspired by a real life story, but not necessarily it wasn't exactly that story.
Okay, I think before we take the question from the audience, maybe you can because you hinted at the fact that there's going to be a follow-up to Jungle Justice. There's going to be a feature film, so maybe you can tell us a bit more about that, and then we're gonna, I guess, take the question from the audience.
Okay, so we're currently working on a feature film for Jungle Justice, and we're expanding on the short film. So we're taking it from where it is right now. I'm not gonna say much because I didn't say much, but sorry. But we're looking. Principal photography would start sometime in winter this year, so that's the plan, and it should be. We don't have a specific date for when it will be released, but we're looking at next year. So yes, we're working on a film expanding this story. We'll be working with some of the actors back again, some not, because some of them have grown. We shot this film actually, principal photography for this film was from 2016, so it's a long time ago. So some of them have grown past what the age we're looking at right now. But yes, the feature film is in the works, and it's going to release sometime next year.
Okay, and we'll open up the questions for the audience. You guys send your questions in. We'll keep asking a couple more questions while you guys do that. So tell us about where this film is set, where you guys shot, and what are some of those influences, you know, from a cultural standpoint that you see in the film that people from outside of the continent or outside of that culture may not understand. Contextualize that in the location for us a bit.
We shot the movie in Jamestown, in Accra. Jamestown is actually a fishing community. They're just by the beach, so a lot of the adults there are fishermen, right? But it's actually in Accra. It's not like maybe it's a rural area. No, Accra is the capital of Ghana, just for context. So it's right there in the middle, in the center of Accra. So it's a beautiful place. And there was the place where we had Kofi, the actor, walk through, he had to walk when he was going to his cousin's house. And that was just because we wanted just not to show a dilapidated neighborhood. We wanted to show the beauty of the neighborhood as well. Like, yeah, it's beautiful, not just a crazy ghetto, you know? So yeah, it was a great location for the shoot, because we're looking when the script was developed, we're looking for the idea, the concept I had in my head, you know, was just Jamestown, you know, just writing the script. I just had that Jamestown in my head. So it was a good look. It was like a location I thought told the story the way I wanted to. So yeah, I hope that answered the question. Yeah.
Well, one of the questions I already see coming through, and it's a question that I had from the audience, is the jungle justice concept, now that we understand it. And even based on what you talked about happened in real life, and, you know, with some of the stories that you referenced, what you saw when you were young, and then the four students that got murdered.
Yeah.
Stealing and getting burned alive, it just seems a little disproportionate. You know, like, tell us about that. Like, you know, it's you know, to outsiders, it just seems so extreme. But definitely we know that in some cultures, you know, like in Middle Eastern culture, for example, you know, stealing is seen almost as bad as murder, right? So tell us about that a little bit. Like, you know, why would that punishment be so extreme just for stealing a few dollars?
Okay, so I'll put it this way to answer your question. If you look at the beginning of the film, if you notice something, the guy who poured petrol on the thief knew nothing about what was going on. Because he heard people screaming outside. He came out and asked, "What's going on?" Then someone came to him and said, "Oh, the guy who's been raping the girls has been caught." You know, that was a different story. He walked out. He had more in the script, but we couldn't just shoot it because he walked out, met someone else who told him something else, you know? So he got there not knowing what was going on. All he heard was thief. And he decides, I'm just gonna kill this person. That's like a very, very, very sharp picture of what happens in jungle justice. A lot of people who get involved in killing that person didn't even know how he started. They don't even know anything about it.
Weren't affected by it.
Yeah, they weren't affected by it. Good, very good. Because they're just walking down the street and they hear someone screaming thief, and they just feel like, oh my God, I have to save this person. I have to fight for this person. That's just it. So that's why I say people get like misidentified and killed for not even being the right person they're looking for in the first place. So some like there are cases in Nigeria or like where I've heard or I've read where someone was killed for stealing a bouillon, like with like a like
the
salt or
seasoning.
Yeah, seasoning. They killed the person
I used
for
to do that when I was younger. Thank God they didn't. I'm kidding.
Thank God you weren't in
I
Nigeria.
used to steal gum, not beyond, but still. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Like gum, people can get killed for gum. So that's how serious it is, because it just like it like, how do I put it? I'll just put it this way: it escalates, right? It starts from people, one person stealing, another person shoving the person like, hey, it's thief, 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 and people just start to gather like, oh, he's a thief. Okay, let's just do the right thing. You know, people don't even know what the person has stolen, and whoever accused the person, maybe that person didn't even intend for it to escalate that way. But then when it goes off, the person just steps back like, I'm not going to be a part of this, or, you know, so things just get off. So that's why someone can steal the smallest thing and be killed for it. So that's how it happens. Yeah.
We have,
but again, sorry, in all fairness, it happens in the West as well. Like it's called mob mentality. And mob mentality is a reality in the US, in Europe. You know, that happens. Maybe not in that extreme, but it's still the same thinking. It's the same mentality. You know, yeah. You don't think for whatever it is, you just go at it because someone said something, you go at it. You know?
Yes.
It just takes on different forms, right?
Yes, it takes on different forms, yeah.
Well, we have a lot of questions coming in, but guys, I could choose two more. And I think this one was something that was on everyone's minds because the visuals for this film were really, really beautiful. And, you know, you talk about the Jamestown and, you know, you really delivered on capturing the beauty of Accra and that specific, you know, part of Accra. So who was your DP for this? Who shot it? And you know, somebody from our team wants to work with them. This came from somebody on our team, actually. Yeah.
Is the cinematographer's name is 𝗲𝗪𝗥. He's my very close friend. We're super close. Now, he is phenomenal as a cinematographer, right? He's awesome with how he works. But I put it this way: we worked hard for years for us to achieve what we achieved. You know, we started like in 2015, and we started to learn so much on the internet. You know, we'll go on the internet. How did they light this shoot? So we literally look at a scene in a movie and we imagine how it was lit, you know. So then we had a test subject. We had a friend, you know, even when he's about to sleep, we don't let him sleep. We're like, no, we have to shoot this. Come. Sit by this table, and then we put our lights, we try, you know, we shoot, we grade, we look, okay, no, we can make it better. So it was like something we did over and over, over and over and over, because it was a photographer. He just used to be a photographer, and then he decided, okay, I want to make videos and stuff, and we met, and we had like almost the same goal, you know, what we wanted to achieve and how we wanted it to look. So we spent so much time, you know, working on perfecting this idea, and you should see his works. He's a phenomenal.
And what's his full name? What's his?
𝗲𝗪𝗥, 𝗲𝗪𝗥. So his page is 𝗲𝗪𝗥 Studios. Like his Instagram page is 𝗲𝗪𝗥 Studios. So 𝗲𝗪𝗥 Studios, yeah.
Okay, a good few people will hit up 𝗲𝗪𝗥 after this. I could just, everybody is talking about that. And so the last thing is from our partners, Shock TV. They're asking a question. Why did the film end with the other guy being smoked, not Kofi himself? Do you think that would have counter-driven the message being, you know, brought across? So the curiosity is around the approach to the ending of it.
Yeah. So the approach to the ending is, first off, the idea was Kofi, if you remember, Kofi was the one who stole. Even though he was pushed by someone else, he was the one who put his hand in the bowl. He stole the money, not the guy who was killed. Now, we decided to let Kofi leave because, you know, if you look at it, it was coming for him. because he was always causing trouble and things were happening, and he was always in the center of everything. And we wanted him to learn a lesson, you know, at the end, because the lesson was it could have been me, you know, that was the goal for him as a character, you know. Now the question is, did he change after that or did he not, you know? So that was why it ended the way it ended. And the wrong person was burnt alive. It wasn't the one who stole the money. Even Kofi was the one who did the stealing. You know, nobody knew the background. Like, nobody knew that he pushed Kofi to it. All they knew was two people were running, and they just went after one person, right? So that was why it ended that way, and that's why we had Kofi leave, just to, you know, see if it changed. Yeah.
Well, no, this was really, really awesome. And sorry, guys, we can't take any more questions because we've had Idowu for a while, and we're going to wrap now. But I just want to thank you, Idowu, for being here with us. This was really phenomenal. I can't wait to see your feature. I don't think anybody would disagree that, you know, all of the, how many years you said it took you to make this?
From 2016, yeah, to now.
To now, so, well, to like just about a year or two ago, right?
Yeah.
Right. So it took you 5 years to make this film, you know, 5 or more years, and it really paid off in the reactions that it's getting and that it got today. So thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to our partners as well on this, not just Nollywood Week, but Shock TV. For those who aren't familiar with Shock TV, it's one of the top editorial websites covering Nollywood film, covering Nigeria and the film industry and all the things Nigerian entertainment. So check them out and visit their site because they are doing some really, really awesome work in highlighting talent from not just Nigeria, but from the African continent as well. And lastly, I'll leave to Serge to tell us about Nollywood Week, the physical film festival coming up, as a last plug, so that, you know, those of you who are in France or in Europe could check it out.
Yeah, thank you, Mika. So yes, we are coming back to the world as it used to be next month from May 5th to May 8th. So whoever can make it, it will be fantastic to have you guys. And also, because last year we had a virtual festival, we also learned some lessons from that. And what we're going to do is that some of the short films are also going to be accessible online. So the feature films, unfortunately, they won't be available online, but the shorts are going to be available for the duration of the festival, which is 4 days. So yeah, I mean, you know, we are putting the program up online, the trailers and everything, so that you can see what is coming up. Yeah.
Awesome. And Idowu, anything you want to tell the audience members to keep up with you, your socials, websites, anywhere that they should follow you before we go?
Yeah, yes, sure. They can follow me on Instagram, Idowu Okeniyi. That's my full name. That's my Instagram page, because I have a lot of content coming up like at the end of this year, next year. So they should, to keep up with that, follow me on Instagram, Idowu Okeniyi. Yeah.
Nice, awesome. All right, guys, so thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the interaction. This is really awesome. And the next Short Film Saturday will be on April 23rd, so next Saturday, with Saman Sorkabi from Iran and Tarania Naidu from South Africa. So we're going to have a really interesting combination of films for next Saturday. And like and subscribe this YouTube channel, Soleil Space, as well as follow us on Instagram at soleil.space. And you have the handles for Nollywood Week as well as for Idowu as well. We'll have all that in the bio. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Idowu. Thanks, Serge.